Cam Robinson is the director of everything at Elite Prospects. We missed him last week. He was doing some hockey coaching. Good to have him back on the program. How you doing, fella?
Doing fine. Yeah, like I was just saying, gonna pop over on the walk on the Hullo boat there and head over to your guys' way here this afternoon. Yeah.
And coming for that WHL top prospect scheme. We'll get into that in a second. But Cam, let's start with prospects because we had some fun with Harm Dial on Friday looking at prospects that might be pryable from the hands of playoff teams as the Canucks approach the March 6th trade deadline. The roster freeze lifts on Sunday. I want to start, buddy, with a guy whose name I'm just seeing all over the place when I look at hockey prospecting. Alexander Gerovski, a Montreal Canadiens pick, Russian winger, and you've got some news and info there. What's up?
Yeah, so I don't cover a lot of the KHL or Russia these days. Just there's not a ton of prospects coming out of there. So obviously I'll check on some of the young ones, but once they're drafted, they're kind of off my radar unless they're with the Canucks. So I checked in with some people. Obviously, having a big year, second round pick. He's 18 years old. He's got 37 and 46. The numbers are eye popping. You look at that NHLE and it's it looks like he could be a superstar. But so granted, great production for a kid his age in that league. But firstly, the KHL is a weaker league than it has been in years past. And that's just, a result of a lot of players that aren't Russian don't want to play there right now. So they're opting for different European leagues. So it's a little watered down. His 5-on-5 involvement has been very limited. What I'm told, very limited. So excellent on the power play when he has the time and space on the power play to use his hands. His hands shine. He has an NHL level shot, but feet are limiting. And I would say that his impact at 5-on-5 is limited as well. So maybe a little bit of a masking of some of the deficiencies being propped up by some of that power play work.
If he's pryable, is that Connor Garland or would that require an Elias Pettersson?
No, that shouldn't require an Elias Pettersson, I wouldn't think. I think you'd be buying into a lot of the hype and not actually really assessing the player and what his likely future is if you're hoping to get him in an Elias Pettersson trade. So yeah, I'd say certainly more in the Connor Garland range or potentially below, but it all depends on how Montreal really feels about him.
Since we're talking Pettersson, let's talk on this province story. Ben Kuzma reporting the LA interest in Pettersson has only increased since the Olympics. Of course, Elias had a couple of goals against Slovakia. And then, of course, LA has all this cap space now with Kevin Fiala out for the season with a broken leg and leg surgery suffered against Canada as he was playing for Switzerland. We're asking on our Yellow Dog poll question, Byfield for Pettersson. Cam, who says no?
I mean, who says no? First of all, I'll say that I don't think LA is the only team that has even more interest in Elias Pettersson after this, during this Olympic time. And it's what I've been saying. It's what many people have been saying. It's why teams are still interested in him is that you get him in the right situation. He can be a factor for you again. And you're seeing it, with the Swedes there too. It's not like he's playing 22 minutes a night and he's getting first power play and he's getting first line minutes, but you can see when he's playing with good players in a good structure, he could have more than 2 goals and 2 points at this event too, right? Like he got stoned on day one there and ended up pulling the goalie out with yanking him there too. So he's generating, he looks good. He's good defensively. He's a good player. Like he might not ever be that 100+ point guy again, but he should, if you throw him on LA, you throw him on Carolina, you throw him on Colorado or something like that, dollars to donuts, he's an 85+ point guy. When it comes to Quinton Byfield, I think everybody knows how I felt about him for years, right? I was probably the only person on earth who put him at number 1 over Lafreniere that year. I truly believed that big man was going to develop into this incredible player. He's still only 23. It does take bigger players longer. You do have to give him that runway. Look at Juraj Slafkovsky, right? Like he's just 21 right now too, but it's like he flashes at the Olympics and it's like, let's judge him when he's 24, 25. So with Byfield, I think, he's played his 300 games in the NHL at this point. Plus, it's time. It's time for him to break out as he enters into that age 24 season, or else it's kind of his last best chance to really reach that potential that he had. So I think it'd be an interesting deal for both teams because, LA has invested so much time and development into this player, and he's supposed to be the heir apparent to Anze Kopitar. But if you want to accelerate, I mean, they just went and got Panarin. You lose Fiala. They're obviously looking to make waves right now. It's not the craziest thing. And if you're Vancouver, you get out from that contract, you get a younger player, you get a big center, right? You've got some smaller guys coming up behind there. Marco Rossi, Braden Coots, they're not big players. It's like that would be an excellent big number one man if you think he's actually going to be that true number one. And I still think he could have it. He's never really got a chance to run wild on that Kings team. He's never had a season where he's seen over half of the power play deployment or regular first line minutes, but analytics show that incremental steps offensively have taken place, even if the raw accounting stats don't really prove that as well. So I do think there's an opportunity if you put him with good players and you just run him out there for 4 minutes on a top power play every night and just let him make mistakes and be creative, that he could become that elite piece still.
And at 55 points, if that's where he's going to end up, like that's what his salary is worth. He's only making 6.25, so he's not like being undervalued right now in any way, shape, or form. Do you think we always say to be cautious about World Junior sample sizes and affecting opinions, but at the pro level, we know what these players are for the most part. Is Elias Pettersson's performance going to affect how people perceive him, do you think, here at these Olympic Games?
Yeah, simply because of like the situation that it's been in Vancouver. I think that there has been extenuating circumstances, right? It's that it's just been so much noise, so many things that are off ice, dressing room stuff, the team being just so poor, and it's hard to really shine in those situations over a couple seasons now. And so teams are looking for, I'm sure they were watching him closely at the Four Nations too, where he unfortunately did disappoint. I would say he didn't rise to the occasion when he got put with those good players. And so this is another opportunity for him to be like, I'm still a good player, and you put me with these guys, these all-star type players, I can really still play and get out of my own head and get away from the noise that is Vancouver and being a 32nd team overall. So I do think that even a small sample size is such a big stage, and that it's just such a shift from what he's been doing in Vancouver, that opportunity to shine and prove to teams that, hey, I'm still worth it. And I've said it for going back to last year too, that there are smart teams still believe in this player.
At the Olympics, it's unbelievable how much the top picks overall in the NHL entry draft have begun to shine for their respective teams. It's almost like you get good players if you get to pick number one overall. As the Canucks trend towards that position, it underscores how important this choice is, isn't it?
Oh, it's literally, sometimes you can get very lucky, and you can get an Erik Karlsson at 15th overall or something like that. You can get these Hall of Fame type guys, but primarily it's like, if you are going to get something that's going to change the complexion of your franchise, it's going to be in the top three, and it's more likely than not going to be number one. Rare does a class produce more than one truly great player. Sometimes they sprinkle in a couple more that are a level below. So yeah, absolutely. And that's why you don't rush through a rebuild. That's why you want to accumulate as much as you humanly can. San Jose, Chicago, you add, you try to get as many top 2, top 3 picks for 3-4 years. And then now it's time. Use some of those assets, some of those tons of second round picks that you had, use some of those mid firsts that you accumulated as well to package up and get more, now players, or sign them as free agents, because now all of a sudden you're attractive. You've got a Macklin Celebrini on your team. You got a Michael Misa, you got a Will Smith, you've got a Sam Dickinson. It's like, UFAs are going to be excited to come and play with those kids, right?
I want to go back to prospecting with them. Sorry, I was just talking to Mike. We got something coming up here. You have long told us about the Carolina Hurricanes' interest in Elias Pettersson, and of course, Carolina looking to upgrade that center spot. Now, we've talked about Logan Stankoven, the former Kamloops Blazer, of course, and any potential trade scenarios there. But I want to... it's Gerovski and this kid, Bradley Nadeau, Carolina prospect, forward. He's a Acadian from New Brunswick who came out to the Penticton Vs to play his junior hockey, won a couple of championships with the Vs, absolutely ripped up the BCHL to the tune of 113 points in 54 games before becoming a first rounder, ripping up college hockey at Maine. And Cammy's 44 points in 36 AHL games this year after a splendid AHL debut last year. Talk to me about Bradley Nadeau, whether you think he would be pryable from the Carolina Hurricanes grips.
Yeah, he's pryable for sure. And I mean, like I remember watching him in that draft eligible season when he was in Penticton, and him and his brother, 2 years older than him at the time as a 19-year-old, they destroyed. It wasn't even fair, right? Like they barely lost a game that season. I remember they were playing Alberni in the finals. It was a 4-0 sweep and then some. Like it wasn't even. The brooms were out, I think, after the first period of game one. This kid is basically a supercharged version of Lekkerimaki. He's an elite finisher. a better finisher, I would say. I think he's got better playmaking. He's a better skater, even though he's not an elite skater. Similar size. They're not big guys. And then, kind of the knock on him was, like not super physical, not great defensively. I think he's proven over the last couple of years in the AHL, like improved defensively, improved physical output. It suggests strongly that this is like a true top 6 option long-term in the NHL. Like the production that he's put up in the American League in the last 2 seasons at his age, we do not see that very often. When we do see it, it's usually like a Euro who's coming over, like a Pasternak or a Willie Nylander or somebody who's going to have first line upside. So he's a very talented player, but I do think Carolina, they do a good job of stockpiling assets and then using them. And so I think that if the right player came along, and if it's Elias Pettersson, I do think that they would be open to moving, just like I think that they would have been open to moving, Nikishin and Nadeau for a guy like Quinn Hughes. I think that they would have been open to doing those things because they value players that can help them immediately, and their window is wide open, right? And it won't be forever, even though they are still a really young team and they have so many young prospects. They're built to last, I should say.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see if the Canucks are willing to put some of their bigger bait on the table here before the deadline. I saw Thomas Drance reporting that he has yet to get an indication that the Canucks are looking to shop their veterans who have term remaining. But as Harm Dial reminded us last week, look, it's not just about March 6th and this deadline. He's also looking at pre-July 1st trades before the new league year begins. And, of course, some of that would be in and around the draft.
Jonathan Lekkerimaki, a big night, 2 goals. That shot seems to be getting better. He ripped that one from the left circle. Are we seeing an extra step taken by Lekkerimaki, an extra comfort level at the very least at the pro game?
I mean, he's got a lot of experience at the pro game now over in Sweden and over in the American League. Now you want to see that. That's you want to see him. He doesn't necessarily have to take over games because that's not exactly the type of player he is, but you do want to see that shot. Number one, the volume, right? We want to see more volume shooting. And so he is showing that, maybe not game over game, but we're seeing it more regularly. And then yes, finishing, being more confident, trying a little more skill plays before you let it fly, because the kid has loads of talent. And when he gets hot, like all shooters, he's gonna score in bunches, and then he's gonna cool down. So it is good to see that he had a big night, and that you want to see that carry over. When the break's over, get in the lineup and then put him in a position. I sound like a broken record. Put him in places that he can shoot plenty and score some goals and get that momentum going at the NHL level too. Because once again, it's not like this team is flush with prospects that have one-shot goal scoring ability. There's a couple, and he's definitely one of them. And it's pretty integral that he breaks right for them, or you get him out of the system and you try to move him in a package for someone that you do believe in.
Number one,
go ahead.
Number 1 overall, the presumptive choice, Gavin Mckenna. He will not be a felon. That was taken off the table. He could be guilty of misdemeanors. We'll find that out at a later date. But he got back on the ice versus Michigan over the course of last weekend. Just 1 assist in 2 games. But am I reading this right? He had 16 shots on goal over the course of those 2 games, and he played 53 minutes. Do we fault him for just the 1 point? Do we say it was a good effort overall? I mean, obviously, Penn State did not play very well. They only got a tie out of the 2-game set. But you tell me if Gavin McKenna's performance leads you to believe he's getting past the incident, if you will.
I only watched the Friday night game. I did see the start of Saturday night, but I didn't get to see the whole thing. But I was dialed in to watch that Friday night. I almost hopped on a plane. I felt like I should go there. But, let's just say that Michigan's a very good team, too. Number 2 ranked in the nation right now, have been number 1 for long stretches. Very good team. So the fact that, even Penn as number 6 pushed them to overtime in a shootout there in the first game, that was a good showing for them. I thought McKenna was fine. He had the playmaking flashes. He put 9 shots on goal. But none of them were like super high danger, I wouldn't say. He was flinging up. He had started to come out of his shell, I think, a little bit post-World Juniors, where there was some more grit, there was some more effort off puck, there was some more back checking and using his speed a little bit more. And I thought that first game, that Friday night game, was a bit of more of the early season McKenna, where he's still almost obviously the most talented player on his squad anyways. I mean, Jackson Smith had a hell of a night on Friday night, but you put those 2 teams out there like him and Hage, and there's some guys that shine, but you still kind of, it left me being like, he was he was fine. He was fine. He wasn't great. And I had a scout text me that who was at Nodak that night. And he's like, "Are you at Michigan? How's McKenna looking?" I was like, "Nah, fine." He's like, "Okay, par for the course," sort of thing. You still want to see a little bit more from him, but granted, a lot of noise. And the Yost kids, that student section, they were letting him know too, right? There was chance of go to jail, and they're booing him every time he touched the puck, and when he was coming out on the ice to open the game and stuff. So it was a pretty difficult atmosphere for him to be in, but I think it's just important that he got out there, got the reps, played a ton of minutes, like you said, threw some pucks on net, and see if he can get that kind of behind him a little bit and get moving in the right direction again.
Well, there's a very good law school at the University of Michigan, so if he needed a defense lawyer, there may well have been one there in the students section. Are the Ruck twins from Masoyas, are they playing in this WHL Top Prospects game that you're attending tonight, Cam?
I sure hope so. I haven't seen that they pulled out yet, so yeah, they should both be there. I'm looking forward to getting to see them here. I haven't seen them live yet, so I've seen them on tape, obviously, several times. So looking forward to getting to see those boys because what they're doing right now, it is noteworthy to say the least. I know that just talking about Gerovski there too is that like sometimes points don't tell the whole story. But at some point, it's like these guys just continue to produce at an elite level, maybe not the most translatable ways into pro hockey, into the NHL, but boy, oh boy, like they can move the puck around to each other. They can finish off plays. They find each other. Not quite Sedin-like, but there you go. A little back pass.
That was Sedinery, though. Look at that. Marcus Stolium with the back pass as he's going around the net for those of you on visual platforms. So an absolutely beauty goal from the Ruck twins from Masoyas, so playing for Willie Desjardins in Medicine Hat. Just give me a name that you're looking at tonight in this WHL Top Prospects game.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch. I'm really excited to see those Ruck boys. I mean, Daxton Rudolph too. I haven't got to see him live this season yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. Obviously Carson Carls I've seen a number of times too. But again, top prospect there. So a little unfortunate. No Ryan Lynn, obviously with the wrist injury, and then Mathis Preston too is going to be out. So that's too bad. The two Giants players there. Was really looking forward to seeing Preston, hoping he would get back in time. But so a couple of big names out of the lineup. But there's going to be some other guys too. There's going to be some mid-round picks there too. They're going to be looking to shine, and there's scouts are going to be there. It is just a WHL Top Prospects game, but I texted a whole bunch of people, and it seems like it's going to be a pretty full house with NHL teams. So it should, hopefully they put on a good show.
And looks like a halfway decent class out of the dub, particularly when you talk about how more players are matriculating to the WHL. Carls, of course, is the big left shot defenseman with the Prince George Cougars. Goalie fight last night between the Cougars and the Vs, incidentally. And Daxton Rudolph is the right shot defenseman in Prince Albert, who's playing with our friend Braden Coots, and they have been sizzling since the Coots trade. Travel safely, my friend. Thank you for all the intel here. We will catch up next week.
Thanks, boys. Talk soon.